So, welcome to my talk. As you see, the subject is small LLMs and local power. First, a disclaimer. Everybody who expects a full-blown AI talk, sorry. Hopefully you enjoy the second talk more, because that would not expect your expectations. And I have to be honest, the talk description in the meetup is a bit untrue. I wrote there, I built a side project. Basically, that's true. I mean, there's Laravel skeleton. There is some services around. There is some kind of front end around. So basically, something is built. But it's far away from a real full side project where I can show you and share the code and give you the GitHub repo and so on and so on. So that is the disclaimer for now. What I want to do in this talk is showing you how I discovered local models, how I'm currently finding out potential and rabbit holes and not so nice things and good things and bad things and so on. And perhaps you get some inspiration after that talk to try something out by yourself and play around and do much better stuff than I do. So that would so much for the disclaimer. So that's why our agenda of today looks like this. I will introduce myself short because probably not everybody knows me. I will show you a bit the problem definition I was facing, a small part of technical foundation, then the disappointments and hopes I was facing and having. Then, of course, the skeleton project features I have, and hopefully a small live demo so that you see some action in place. And in the end, some future visions, what I will go on with the project with. And if you have questions, then of course there should be some time for questions as well. Oops. Oh no. So about me, I'm Tanja. Sometimes I'm also known as Miss Funbyte or just Funbyte. Basically, I'm probably not known to a bigger public. It's my first ever tech talk today, so you can imagine how I'm feeling. And the only screen time I had probably was this 3 minutes in Philip's Fleet Commander talk some month ago, where he showed some code of mine. Probably this was the only one. So first of all, I'm not a machine learning or AI engineer for nothing. I'm not a founder of everything. I'm not a creator of I don't know what. I'm not a member of a core team or something else. I do not even have a big GitHub profile or public stuff there. I'm just a regular full-stack developer working in an agency. I'm a solution designer, I'm a requirements engineer, and I love looking at bigger pictures. And yay, I finally have my CAS as Chief of AI Officer done. And that for me was a bit the door opener for becoming an AI explorer. So that's so much for me. Let's go to the subject. Since I'm a regular developer, a big part of my is problem solving. And so first of all, let's check out my problems. We have currently big challenges in the landscapes of AI. AI is kind of everywhere. So you really cannot hide from it. Working in an agency is like, all of a sudden, every customer I have wants something with AI, because now you have to do AI. Nobody knows why, nobody knows what, but they want to do AI. So we need AI. Then, of course, our management is asking us how we can integrate AI in our workflows, in projects, and myself was asking these questions as well. So big additional questions appear. Privacy remains always problematic. There is a European AI Act coming. Nobody knows what basically that means. Not even I that had this in this CAS, Chief AI Officer education. We didn't know. Most don't even understand the privacy GDPR yet, so that will become a big issue. Then all of a sudden strange costs appears. There are subscriptions, there's tokens, there is I don't know what, and you basically don't really know if something costs something per token. We have no clue how many tokens, what mean what, and basically you're overwhelmed. So I found out customer advisory competence is totally lacking on my side, and the problem is clients are asking questions. So yeah, I looked a bit around and found out perhaps there are alternatives to this OpenAI stuff, to this Anthropic stuff, to APIs and everything that's somewhere in the cloud and is that big, big mystery. And so then they came. I found out there is something that is called local. In my CIS, I had one session with a very non-technical guy, and he showed me something that was called a local LLM runners. And he told us there's something called Llama, and that Llama can really put up with ChatGPT and can totally run locally on your machine. And it kind of works, and it's super, and everything is great. And I was hooked and thought I have to check that out. So I checked it out and digged a bit around and found out really there is possibilities that you can run these LLMs locally, even on your computer, not on a big blown server, not on a big GPO stuff whatsoever, on your local machine. Simply put, we don't have an API now, we don't need a cloud, and basically we don't even need third party. We can get enhanced privacy because the data is processed directly on the devices where the model is running. We have, as I said, less dependencies. We don't have to care about subscriptions or tokens because everything runs right there on your machine. And we have something nice like Hugging Face. So Hugging Face is cool. Everybody knows Hugging Face? Yeah. Is there someone who doesn't know Hugging Face? Good. Hugging Face is kind of GitHub for AI. Let's put it like that. So basically you find everything. There are models. There are these where you can basically find everything that refers on GPT, there's the German models, the French models, and so on and so on. There's embedding stuff. It's really, really a full-blown. So you should check it out. You should be overwhelmed afterwards and panic and then start with it. So yeah, check it out. Go to Hugging Face. So there's much stuff around. As I said, my technical AI background is quite scarce, but at least let's check out a bit what's with these local LLMs and runners, what's behind them. First of all, what is a local LLM runner? Basically, it's a piece of software that you have on your machine, and it allows you to run large language models directly. So kind of Docker for LLMs. We have much benefits, as I already said. There's privacy, no cost, we can work offline, there is no rate limits, and basically because there is no network latency, fast responses. I wrote you down some popular tools. It's a bit, should I put it up somehow? It's a bit on the ground. Yeah, the talk otherwise is public. You can check out the tools probably afterwards. There is stuff like LM Studio that is a GUI-based model management tool. There's Llama, there's GPT-4All, that's with an interface, with a chat interface. And there's Ollama, that's a command line tool, and that gives you kind of a Docker-like experience. So I love easy, and I do not love Docker, but it's there and you used it and I kind of find it good. So that's why I personally decided for Ollama and use it. And that's not me making Ollama, that's indeed the logo of Ollama. So I'm not that sophisticated in painting stuff. So Ollama is an open source platform with key features that I already mentioned. We have a super easy installation. It manages models. The bit of a downside is you cannot just use Hugging Face and put everything you find in Hugging Face in an Ollama runner. So Ollama has kind of its own library. Currently it's around, I doubt it, because yesterday I checked and I'm absolutely sure it's much more than 93 models. The most important models are there. So if you're looking for super niche models or something like that, probably you won't become happy with Ollama because probably you need other runners there. But if you want to just play around and use the common models, you will find everything in the Ollama library. It has an easy and an OpenAI compatible API, so there is, if you're used to this kind of stuff, it's kind of easy to work with Ollama. It is finally cross-platform compatible. Windows, I guess, since some month it was not on Windows available, only with WSL, but for macOS and Linux it's available. And of course, it's kind of resource efficient because it runs on your consumer hardware. So sounds very promising, I guess. But yeah, don't talk show, I guess. Much words. Let's try if I am able to switch how I want to switch. Just go there. So try to, yay. That's a bit of a problem, sorry. Yes. Let's close the view mode. Wonderful. Basically, unfortunately, I need another window. So you have to move myself because I see nothing. Okay, that's what I said. So that is my terminal. And we have as you see, that is a command line tool. And normally, if you start with Ollama, that list is empty. And you easily, with Ollama, with some kind of so with this command, you would be able to choose a model in the web interface, copy the name, and pull it down, and then you have these models there. So to run it on a command line is super easy as well. I take something like DeepSeek. I downloaded it. Some month ago it went a bit through the media. So let's check it out. I go to run. So now it's there and runs. And I basically make a small question, something like that, explain large language models to a 5-year-old. And if I now hit enter, yeah. So that is very nice. And then I have my language model kind of talking nice stuff to me. And yeah, so works pretty neat. Let me go out. So we can try it with another model. Let's talk to Google. Give it the same question. And works pretty neat. And we see a big difference. Google is not that talkative, the Gemma model, as, for example, our friend DeepSeek was. So, yeah. It's always a bit a pity if, I guess we all know demonstration always is a bit risky if you do it in a talk like that. But the biggest problem is making such presentations with AI, because they never do what they did the last time. So I basically pray that something is working out, and hopefully now Gamma didn't do 3 DIN A4 pages or something like that, because yeah, that would be a bit of pity of the comparison. But you see, you already with Ollama, you can pretty neat check out on a command line level without even having some application in place and play around with the model. And I find it quite easy and super. And the performance is, I guess, absolutely tolerable and good. I'm not speaking too fast, right? Is it okay? Because I do know that I sometimes am a bit of a fast speaker, so hopefully it's okay for you. Cool. So let me switch back to the presentation. Good. That we did, so we go on. So everything looked fine and nice, and everything is running and super, and then it hit me. The Valley of Despair appeared, and yeah, let's check out what happened. So there are benchmarks. There's a slide with benchmarks. There are benchmarks, and they sound quite nice. So they take these models. I don't want to go too deep in the anatomy of an LLM name, because basically everything I would tell you is probably better if you ask ChatGPT or find in the internet, because yeah, it's just pretty theoretic. But generally speaking, we have different kinds of models. certain amount of parameters that describe them. And there's some rules that you can't find in the internet. And they say, yeah, 1B models are perfect for mobile devices. 3B models are a great balance for phones and tablets. The 7B models are the most popular you can use for your web application, and so on and so on. So there's pretty good description on the internet. There are tables like this, where we see if you have hardware, what RAM would be required. So for the small ones, for 8 giga. For the general purpose, we have 8 to 16. And even for the complex reasoning, 32 gigabyte would be enough. Sounds good. Because that would mean that my totally checks every box. Because I have an M1 newest one, it's the 2021 latest, but still it's an M1 Max with 64 giga of RAM. I should be covered. Yeah. No, it wasn't. And then I do not know if you know that. That is the Gartner hype cycle that became pretty popular in the context of AI. And basically exactly that hit. So I had my technology director, and it was all yay and hyped and go up to the peak of inflated expectations. And then I found out, yeah, it's not so fast as I thought, because as nice and as fast and as quick the whole console stuff is, the moment when I put it on the web, and the web experience, still on my local MacBook, there is different stuff. And that's why I have to show you something. And we go out. And now I have something else I have to go to. So let's. Good. I do not know if there's an easier way to switch between, because I feel a bit stumbled. It's the only way, right, that I can share, present, and yeah, but then I would have a problem with my presentation, right? Okay, good. So, good. So hopefully I see what I want to see. That is a small test controller I made with a Laravel application. And the only thing the test controller makes is it talks to there's a library, by the way. You can find it quite easily. Let's put it like that, there are more libraries, Laravel connectors to Ollama, if you have it on your local machine. There are some libraries that make nice Rebel stuff in Laravel Magic to communicate nicely with the Ollama that runs on your machine. So that would be such a function, the communication with Ollama, retrieving all models. And down there, I have some kind of prompt, a long prompt, not only a small, please explain me a cat or something like that, but still reasonable prompt, nothing too bad. Here the magic happens. I decided for adding additionally an agent, so you're a creative mentor, helping developers with their coding questions, but also with their everyday struggles. That explains the prompt, because there is the cat that does strange things, and of course AI must help me to understand what that cat does. So good. And basically then everything should go out. There is, as you see, no front end behind. I just wanted to test a bit around, so it's a JSON output. And I need to go. I close it because I tested it, so let's try it again. That should be. Oh, that's not good. There's a point, there's a full stop in front of test, right? Because I see it really bad here. Yes. Oh, good. Let's try it again. That should it be, right? Yes. So it loads. So hopefully no timeout hits, but now, and if you remember the command line that we tried earlier. That is not the best user experience, I guess, and that is the thing that is hitting very hard. I used, as you saw it, a kind of more sophisticated model. Where are you? So, It's not the DeepSeek for clarity. It's not the DeepSeek that we used on the command line. I used there a 1.5B, and that's a 7B, and that is a bit higher than the command line. So not fair from my side to make a direct comparison. But as we remember, in the 7B are these models that should be used for a general purpose. So I'm quite sure that we should try it out and find out what happens. Let's check the browser. Yeah, there is an answer. So I would say it was like 30 seconds, something like that, but longer I cannot really say. The answer comes. We see there are models, the context, and that would be the answer. So it works, but for sure it really does not work that I can use it anyhow in my daily business or make something where customers would be very happy or something like that. So yeah, that is the thing with the despair and the pity and so on. So back to talk. I call it the what the fuck? Oh, yes moment. That happened like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So unfortunately, I already decided for the talk. And probably if I wouldn't have had that what the fuck, oh yes moment, it would have been a pretty sad talk, because basically probably the talk would have ended here. So many thanks I'd like to say to the Apple conference in Bern that took place in the end of April, May. And it's an AI conference. And I was there, and most of the time I was thinking like, what the fuck, and found I'm really not an AI engineer, because 50% of the stuff that was discussed there I basically didn't understand. But still it was very interesting, and I would do it again. Nico, by the way, who held the talk some weeks ago, was there as well. Big talk, nice talk, very great. Finally I saw it as well. It was very good. Kudos to Nico. But I had my personal, oh my God, moment as well, because there were 2 talks, and they were about small LM, and it was called The Rise of Small Models. And small LM is a model that comes from Hugging Face. It's really developed by them, and that does give up a bit a new perspective. So that is just copy-pasted, so that's not written by me. Small LM beats other small models on most tasks, and even outperforms some larger ones on specific benchmarks. And I like that comparison. It's like having a junior developer who's really good at the job versus a senior developer who's having an off day. So yeah, it's really a whole other dimension. It runs really, really smooth on regular hardware, has either fast responses. They say no more waiting 10+ seconds. It can be embedded in a web application, and is basically quite cheap, because there is no response that even if you want to run it on a server. I do not want to go too much in detail, because if you're really interested, they have good papers. There's much information on the internet. I do not really want to bore you here with some technical stuff. The thing is that they discovered that, what a surprise, quality matters more than quantity. So that is a big surprise, because in daily business that never is the case. And so they just, that's basically a data recipe. As I said, I don't want to go too much in details. They really force different scopes with different data qualities. And it's really, really small. We will see it afterwards on my machine. But it's kind of scoped, and that's the biggest win there. So that has downsides. It's not usable for every single use case you can imagine, but it's very use case scoped, and that's basically a good progress. The other thing is the training strategy. So instead of just training and pulling everything in that model and putting everything on the model, they do it in stage-wise. So there's a foundation stage, there's an ability stage, there's a third stage where the math and reasoning comes in, and in the end we have fine-tuning and polishing. So they go really step by step, and so one has a really sophisticated model in the end. So that sounds quite promising. Disclaimer, if anybody asks questions in depth on this, I'm not an AI engineer, so I would kindly refer to the basic documentation of this model. Yeah, so perhaps you should take a look at the project that I did and where I played around a bit with these models. Yeah, I will show, don't talk to me. So first, a small disclaimer, don't expect a sophisticated front end or something like that. It's really a playground. You will see it super fast. It works like this. I'm not sure if I should make it. Are you kind of able to see it, or should I try to make it a bit smaller? It's okay for you? Because it's kind of deep, it's okay. Good. Yeah, so that's the interface. If you're used to a 38-inch monitor, it kind of seems strange here, a bit smaller, but I guess you see it. So we have a prompt interface. I skip briefly over the text and notes because that's already the next feature I do. And then we have these models where basically every model that is in Ollama downloaded is there and you can choose it. And so we can try it with a very small prompt. What happens? Explain everything you know about cats. I do that for you.
Thank you.
Hopefully you are aware of it. Good. Yeah. That was the biggest issue. I have to find a cat image for Philip, and I have to do something with cats for Philip. Good, wonderful. So, and I tried this. You see, I have the small models in 2 variations. I tried this first with a real small one. It's only 135 Ms. And let's take, I do not know Google. Search as well. And check what's happening. So let's pray. It takes a bit of time. I can promise you that is not the small model that takes time. That's more the Google model that takes time. Yes, and here we are. So you have the results. And compare it. So I have implemented a bit of an analysis. Not too much, will come more in the future. So it puts me out the time that it needed, the tokens that the response were, a bit of a quality comparison, and then you can see the outcomes, of course. And yeah, of course, Google is quality-wise. The Gemma model is one of the best for my taste. I'm quite happy with everything that is put out there. But even for a scope of a short summary, it's kind of interesting what the small model puts out. So basically, depends on what you could use it. We can go a bit more sophisticated if you want. For example, let's try what happens if I didn't try that, so it could be that somehow it will tell me something about aliens, I don't know. Let's try to put in the prompt that was in the text. Should be something like that. It should be kind of the prompt I had in the test controller. Yeah, that's Princess Fluffington, right? Good. Okay, let's check what happens. I'm a bit scared to run it through Google, but yeah. If somebody wants a bit of beer or something like that, that would be the time currently. be a glitch, I will go out. Can go through it a bit. I mean, yes, small is smaller. And Gemma is much more sophisticated. Oh, it even puts in a smiley of a cat in the end. I mean, that is really something. I guess that is something small didn't do. But yeah, if you again look on the times, it's super fast what small does. And it's kind of, yeah, not really 5 times more what Gemma needs. So there is, of course, less quality with small, better quality probably with Gemma. But it depends on what you want. If you really just need small outcomes and small outputs, probably you should think about small. And I have the smallest small, so that's just the biggest comparison I had. Yes. Yeah, that is basically the tool I did. For me, it's very important. I really, it makes a bit, spoiler alert, there's kind of addiction behind it. You all of a sudden begin to use every model and put in prompt, and because it's kind of interesting how different the answers are and how strange the answers sometimes are, it's very interesting that sometimes the small models give longer answers than the sophisticated models. Depends always a bit on the context. So it's really interesting to play around. So I would encourage you, if you're really interested in different models, do something like that. It's, as you see, not the biggest thing. Honestly, there's much vibe coding in the front end because I hadn't time to just the thing that, but not with that tool. It really was my good friend Claude who helped me there. And I hadn't to put in a full-blown front end. Play around with it because I guess it could be kind of interesting. What I'm currently doing, you see there's already something like add text and add classification nodes. In the future, for me, that should become some kind of learning. I will talk about that in my last slide that will appear nowish. No worries, it's not 25 slides anymore. But another thing I already have is that history. Hopefully it works. It does work. Where it basically saves the prompts and the responses. And would also save, as you see, the tags and the context that I would provide. And my goal in the end would be that that database, where different stuff is there, could be, in the next step, used as a learning database for recommending me models for different use cases. So first of all, in the first step, that will be something like that, pretty straightforward. Just put it in a database and make some keyword searches or something like that to find kind of recommendable models. Let me put back to the future. But the next step, so that would be the future what I'm planning to do. Yes. So, yeah, the next step, as I said, would be that first phase where we just automated, have some automized keyword search and put it out. The next thing I could imagine is trying to use something like PG vector and embeddings to make a small RAG on its own. So you have this, where context is in, where tags are in, and so on. And while tipping a prompt, the RAG finds out what the best use case could be and what the best tags could be, and recommends you the models that could be suitable the best for it. And that would be my next goal. Yeah, and in the next step, but that would be something in 2027 probably. The third step could also be that you can use a Python service that helps you with proper machine learning, and the next step would be, yeah, probably refining models or something like that. So still, yes. Good. The pity on the thing is I don't have a finishing slide. I just realized that. The next slide probably would be, if it was there. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening to me. Hopefully you enjoyed it a bit. And if you have questions, I'm free to answer the questions, hopefully.
Do the AI runner suites already support running the models on GPUs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We find that also in the libraries, there's pretty much described if it makes sense to run it without GPUs. There's also models that only run on GPUs as well. So where you really don't, I mean, they run without GPUs, but you currently don't have much fun with that, then they are there, yes. Mm-hmm.
Have you tried the performance of the models when running them on the GPU?
No, okay. Not yet. Not yet. There is another project we are currently working with an hoster together who bought quite good environment with many GPUs, and I'm really looking forward to run in there because I have a feeling that would be quite good. But practical experience I don't have currently, but I would be confident. Let's put it like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Do you have any idea what the discrepancy is between the local CLI asking questions and the web? Why it's so much slower when communicating with the API?
First answer probably is I do everything out of box. So I have a feeling that tuning from my side in some configurations and also my hardware configuration and so on could make much better results. Honestly, I have no clue, but that is because I never researched it. I just was disappointed and gave up for a moment. But I'm interested as well because it's really fascinating what the discrepancy is. And still the same library. Could also be the library itself, because as I said, there are different libraries around. I forgot how it's called, Cloud Vision, Cloud something. It's a library I'm using and the wrapper. Could also be interesting if you do it on a native base. So if you write your own library, I mean, it's just a normal helper, but no proper answer. Sorry for that.
Thank you.
Did you already find your favorite model to help you with your cat questions?
With my cat, honestly, the cat was the presentation only case. I normally don't use cats at home. I have one, but I don't use it. Not a favorite model. I honestly, for the sophisticated stuff, I really do Gemma Girl because it always, has the best balance between size and performance. If I really want to have something quick and short, I always will use small. That really convinced me in terms of quality.
Cool. Thanks.
Any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Then a big applause for Tanja for her talk.
Thank you.